Sorry. But anyway, does anybody want to comment on Goodwill Fellowship? Anybody? Okay. All right. The four sides of the pyramid. One is self, and Rob talked about, these steps get us to get to know ourselves, because I know I had no idea who I was for a really long time, and I'm still just really finding that out and working on that through the step working process, and being in this fellowship and working the program to the best of my ability. Finding out kind of about myself, because there was no life for me before dope. It was just childhood and then dope. There was nothing before. I had nothing to go back to. I had to, I knew me had to be created. I had nothing to go back to. I was always using. So, through the steps and therapy and a lot of talking and, just talking out my own answers to what I need to, the questions I need, just by saying it in a meeting, telling myself what I need, and listening to God and my relationship with God, and, these steps that brought me to know myself. And there are things about myself that came out this year. I am, like most women that I talk to in this program, I am a survivor of pretty serious trauma. Childhood sexual trauma, abuse, neglect, serious neglect, just trauma, and that doesn't even count the physical stuff. But some of that trauma that I had no idea about came out this year. I didn't even know about it. I've been in this program for 5 years, and I consciously did not know that I was a severely neglected child from the age of 9 years old on. My mother neglected me in ways to where I didn't even have the basic needs that children need. Like she did, food was scarce, clothes weren't clean. My basic necessities weren't always taken care of. And this wasn't in the conscious part of my mind until this year, because it was so deep buried that it had to be uncovered through the Narcotics Anonymous program, the 12 steps, and therapy. And, that's something I found out about myself that I had no idea was there. So I'm getting to know more about myself as time goes on. And one of the sides is God. God is everything. God got me here. I am so grateful to NA so that I can have a mature, meaningful relationship with the God of my understanding. Because I thought I knew God before I got clean, but it was just really a bipolar relationship. I was really hot, got into a cult, was really hot, like doing crazy stuff, or I was ignoring him and not acting like I had no God. And it was either one or the other. I never had just a steady, rock solid relationship with God, and that's what I'm building today. And I see in my fellow, my brothers and sisters, that this program brings you to your God, and that's amazing. Anything that can bring you to your God and bring you to your spiritual realization is amazing. I believe this program is divinely inspired. That it was divinely inspired, and these 12 steps are sent from God to me to save my life in this program. Rob said something about, like, it's how you got here and it's how you stay clean, and that's exactly right. I mean, I have written right here, most important thing to the program. That's what God is. He is the most important thing And in that second step, it's right there, right after surrender and, powerlessness and, the surrender to that, you are right on to starting your relationship with God, because that's how important it is. It has to be taken care of right away, because you can't do this without an understanding of God. And you can come to that understanding yourself. I've heard people say good old dude and all kinds of stuff. That's great. That's wonderful. It's encouraged, you find your own way. So, okay. Society is another side of the symbol. We in recovery rejoin and contribute to society again, and for something that we've taken from for so long, or I'll keep it on me, that I have taken from so long, being a thief, being a liar, being a dangerous and violent person, just, like Rob said, just generally just the scum of the earth, and I contributed nothing. I took everything, contributed nothing. Today, I contribute through service in my life, service in this program, my work. I work for myself. I'm a CPS, which is a Certified Peer Specialist. I am trained to work with people with mental diagnoses and addictive diseases. And I go to recovery houses in my area and conduct peer meetings. That's what I do. And, I love it. I love it. And I'm in a lot of service in NA. I'm now at the area level. I never thought that I would be there ever. I never thought I would have literally the patience to serve on the area level. I thought I couldn't even sit through a group conscience for 2 years. I couldn't. It was terrible. I could not. I'd get frustrated and I'd run out and I'd just be like, oh, this sucks and these people are terrible and I can't have anything to do with it. But now I have 2 home groups and I do 2 group consciences. My big home group, Turning Point in Griffin, Georgia, you either love it or hate it. It's it's my home group. I am a active member in that home group. I go to group conscience every time. I, do what's asked. I vote. I come up with things that may better the group. And right now I'm working with the women's meeting at that group a lot, trying to really get it going. And then I'm the GSR of a new group in Hampton, Georgia called Spiritual Awakenings. It needs help. Please come if you're in Hampton. And as a GSR there, I serve at an area level. And it's amazing. My first area, I sat down and I wrote down cusses the whole time. I was like, oh, F this. Why am I here? You tricked me. This is terrible. I just wrote down the craziest things. But after that first one, I love it now. I enjoy going. I enjoy being part of that process. I mean, and our group had to go a couple times before I could vote. And now I can vote, and I'm super stoked about that. And I try to do what's best for, NA as a whole and what my group would want to do. And I try to work this process to the best of my ability in service, it is so important that I feel like doing service and being in service, having sponsees, doing service on a group level, on a, any level is going to keep you clean. To get out of to get out of the selfishness and get into the selflessness and start serving this world that I have taken from for so long, and service keeps me clean. Okay, that's the 4 sides of the pyramid. At the point of the pyramid, 4 sides make the sides. At the point of the pyramid is freedom. And I have never had freedom before until these past couple years. And I'll tell you what my first little bit of freedom came was I was just, all of a sudden I realized that I didn't have to worry about how I was going to get high 4 days from now. That was my first little bit of freedom, because I had to plan out how months, in advance, how I was going to get high or I'd get sick. So when I felt that freedom, that was the first little bit, and it has just grown exponentially from there. The broader the base, the higher the point of freedom, and the base being, goodwill, fellowship, so that, to me, that is when we are in unity, and the more of us that come, and the more of us that I know, and the more groups I go, different meetings I go to, and conventions, and all these things, that makes my base really strong and broad. You got to spread it out and know a lot of people, and the longer, the bigger the base, the higher the point of freedom. And when I got freedom from the desire to use drugs, that was my biggest, hugest, happiest freedom moment. And it didn't happen for me immediately. It took 9 months for the obsession to use to be lifted off of me. I thought y'all were lying to me. I did. I thought y'all were lying, and I didn't think it would happen. And I kept waiting and waiting and trying to make it through and trying to make it through. And, my predecessors and people who love me kept saying, it's going to happen. It's going to happen. Just hold on. And then one day, I didn't even notice that it had happened, and it happens. And I was like, oh, my God, I haven't thought about getting high for 3 days. That's when I can breathe. That's when I can breathe. And that's when I really started trying to learn how to live, and was able to, learn how to live and be free. So that's the symbol for me. I appreciate you guys listening. Those of you that have stuck it out with me, I appreciate y'all so much. I was going to open the floor.
Let us thank Tiffany for her experience, strength, and hope. We appreciate you, darling, and love you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, I was going to open the floor.